Well, my name's Mike. I own locksmithvideoschool.com. I'm actually the instructor and the person that actually put the locksmith training program together that you can go up to Course with Tools and watch that podcast after you watch this one, because on this one I want to talk to you guys that have the question in your mind, what does it take? What does it take to get into this business? Because when you look around on the internet, it is a world of confusion out there, because there's so many people trying to sell you this for $600, trying to sell you this for $800, trying to sell you this for $10 down and $50 a month. And those types of programs will not do it for you. And how would I know that? I'm going to share with you my own personal experience, and then I think you'll understand. Like I said, I've been a locksmith for over 40 years, and I've been training for over 16 years. When I first started in the business, the only thing that I knew how to do was I knew how to install a deadbolt, and I knew how to rekey a house. And that's the only knowledge that I had in the field of locksmithing. But keep in mind, the only thing that was available back then was this book right here, which is an old locksmith training manual that you would find in the back of Popular Science magazine. You'd see these ads, learn to be a locksmith, or learn to go sharpen knives, or those kind of ads. And that's all that was really available. And I knew that that probably wasn't going to get it for me, because I had met guys that had done that. And they didn't know any more really than I did, as far as they knew how to rekey a house and put in a deadbolt, and that's about all the knowledge that it gave them. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to get a job with a large locksmith company. Now, if you wonder to yourself, why won't locksmiths help you? I mean, you try to talk to a locksmith that's got a cell phone and a van, that's making a good living, working for himself. He's not going to talk to you. He's not going to share anything with you. Why? Because he doesn't want any competitors. That's exactly why they won't share anything with you. But see, I was naive back in my early 20s when I got into the business, so I just went bopping in there. But I was very, very blessed, because I happened to run into Limey Kinkton, who was the dispatcher of that large company. Keep in mind, these people had 20-something employees. So he was the dispatcher. So I talked to him and told him I'd been a locksmith for 5 years, and and they needed somebody. So he hired me, right? Well, it didn't take but a day or two to realize that I really didn't know very much at all, and I was constantly asking questions, right? Because my intent was, I don't want to work for that company. I want to work for myself. And so anyways, Limey Kinkton used to, this is how he trained me, right? He'd take a mortise section, he'd set it on a desk, and he'd say, here, the lock is in the box. The directions are in the box. Go back in the shop and talk to Fred. It's going on a 10th floor of an office building, and go put it in. He said, if you mess the door up, don't bother even to come back. So the way I had to learn the business was, and keep in mind, I worked 1 year for that company, but I knew I had a goal in the back of my mind. I want to be self-employed. I don't want somebody else controlling my future. So anyways, working for that company, I would call Fred, and keep in mind, I had to go, when I had a problem with the lock, like let's say I was working on whatever the lock was, and I had a problem with it, I'd have to go get in my truck, drive down to the gas station, and find a payphone. You guys are so lucky today with a smartphone. You've watched the tech support I give my students on some of those podcasts. You're fortunate that way. I didn't have that back there, but the things that I learned my first year was enough for me to start my own business. So you would ask, what does it take? Well, the first thing that you need to be really careful about is what I want to call information overload. All of these textbooks that are filled with information, it's good information, but it's just information. It's not the things I learned my first year. They touch on those things, but they don't teach you those things. So what I did when I set out to create a course, I said, what does a guy need to know? So I just searched my mind in the back, and I said, this is what a guy really needs to know, what I needed. And then you need that one-on-one technical support. So you need to guard against information overload, and you need to choose the right training program, and you need to know who's behind the program and who's going to help you for your first year, because you're definitely going to need it. So the next question you might have is, do I need to have an accredited certificate to be a locksmith? No, you don't. I have never in 40 years been asked for anything like that, ever. I've been asked for my business license. Now that you have to have. Go down to your city, tell them you're a locksmith, they'll give you a packet. In that packet's going to be everything your state and city requires you to have. and I have a locksmith company, and I will help you get into the business. Just call me if you have any questions. We walk you through that part of it. So anyways, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself, how I got into the business, and maybe it'll help some of you make a decision as to which course to take. Just be careful on the internet, because there's a few companies out there that have monopolized the internet, and they're going to send you this right here. That's why I got a paper cover on this. It's just out of sheer respect. They're going to send you all these books, and they're going to get you into the place of what I call information overload. And that's real easy to do today. In other words, you start watching on YouTube, and this has happened, I'm sure, to you that's watching this video. You'll start looking at a video on YouTube, and then you go to another one, and you go to another one, you go to another one, and next thing you know, you go, man, I'm tired. Why? Because you got information overload. Some of the information was good, some of the information was need-to-know basis, and that's why the manual and workbook that comes with our course and the videos that we've done are done to teach you the things that I learned my first year, and I will get you into the business and make you a first-class locksmith. Watch the podcasts, the videos. If you have any questions, just give me a holler at this number right here. And thanks for watching this short podcast.